So let's review a little bit of API concepts and then have some concrete examples on how to work with them, right? So what is an API? Just to go back on the previous videos, simply put, it's an interface that helps software programs connect and communicate with each other, essentially. So it's an interface. It's a way for one program to talk to another, one part of the program to talk to another. That is it. Now, there are web APIs, there are non-web APIs, there are other libraries which have their own APIs, there are frameworks that have their own APIs, and so on. It's just application, program, interface. So it's a way for one program to talk to another program. That is it. That's it on the conceptual scale. Now for our examples, we're going to be working with web APIs. Meaning what? We're going to be using the HTTP methods to connect to an API that lives on the web. And then depending on what we send to it, we will have a specific response back at us. Now, if you are following the directions and the concept one, you should be here as well. So at this page where there's a bunch of free APIs that don't require an API key, which is kind of like our gatekeeper. So let's explore one way we can interact with APIs. And guess what? If you already went to this website, API, Fini.io, free APIs, you've already interacted with an API. In fact, you've interacted with their API. You went to this specific address here, to this specific address. You sent in a GET request, and their API gave you back all of this. So you asked their API for all of this. It gave it back to you. And you have this whole nice web page. Now, what do we have here? We have a bunch of free APIs we can use for testing and top 15 free APIs without key or authentication. Now, some of these might not even work because this is maintained by literally volunteers. So let's see what happens if we go to this address, HTTPS API, public APIs and entries. So it's supposed to give us back a bunch of public APIs and it's not working. Great. So this one is not maintained anymore. All right, let's get a cat fact. So this says, okay, get random cat facts via text message every day. So if we hit this address right here, we will get a random cat fact. All right, well, let's do that. Let's go in here. And look, we got back JSON. Remember that JSON video is just one of the data formats. We have a fact, and we have apparently what is the length of this fact. It says it's 85 characters. I will believe it. I'm not going to argue with it. What happens if I refresh here though? I have a new fact. I'll pretty print it. I have a new fact. So when I refresh, I hit the API again. I send in a GET request and I get back a response. Again, hit the API, get a GET request, get back a response. Let's try something else. CoinDesk. If we hit this endpoint, if we go to this API coindesk.com/version1/BPI and then currentprice.json, we are going to get the Bitcoin price, I suppose, right? So let's do it. All right, we hit it with the browser. It looks messy, but we can pretty print in JSON. And we have a JSON object. We have the time, we have disclaimers, a bunch of other stuff, and we have Bitcoin price at this time with apparently $65,000. Cool, so we have that. Let's see. This API guesses the age of a person based on their name. Complete something random. But if we send in, and we'll come back to the queries later, but if we send in, let's say, my name, it will try to guess my name. And it says my age is 61. Well, probably not, but let's have it guess again. Let's have it guess Mike's age, 65. I think this one is just spouting random information. Let's see. Predict the nationality of a person based on their name. So if we set in something here, it tries to get the nationality and whatnot. Let's try to do this here. So Nathaniel will, let's see, let's send in Jason. CN, I think, is a country code for China. TW is for Taiwan. HK, Hong Kong. Apparently, this is a popular name there. Seems like a bunch of random data, but who knows? The whole point here is we have a bunch of these endpoints. We put in these endpoints in the browser, and we have essentially some sort of response. Just as if we go to YouTube, if we go to youtube.com and /video, we get some sort of response. We are hitting the YouTube API, we're getting back some sort of response. We're hitting this board API /API activity is going to suggest us a random activity, and this one is a free one, this one doesn't work. Let's see, cheer yourself up with random dog images. Let's see if this one works. If we hit that, well, it sent us an image, I think, but we actually have to open up that image. So I suppose if we go to this endpoint, we will get the dog image. There we go. So it sends back a JSON with a message and a link to an image, and we get to this very cheerful dog image. So in the end, APIs are just a way for different programs to talk to each other. Our browser is talking to an API right now. Every time we hit this API endpoint, it's talking to an API. We are talking to an API through our browser. So we're sending in a request from our browser to a specific API, and we get back a response. Send in a request from our browser, get back a response. Our browser processes a response, and we get, either this, or a cat fact, or anything like that. Now, we can have other ways to talk to an API, not only through our browser, and that we will explore in our next video.